Like we're in a place epistemologically where just we have to get used to there's so much on the internet and there's so many lies on the internet and just it's so easy to go I saw it on the internet, it's true, and whether it is something that reinforces your narrative or whatever it is, we all just kind of have to get used to like, all right, we have to get multiple sources, uh read the things that contradict what you think is true or what you want to be true. um it is really hard. It can be a quagmire, especially in the medical realm. There's more and more convincing fake information. There's like fake papers, there's misinformation that resembles legitimate sources of information. So there's unfortunately there's not an easy answer to that question. It's an important question. It's something we have to be focused on moving forward. But just yeah, more skepticism would be a good first start.
All right. Well, thank you, Scar.
Thank you, Professor.
Moving on to I think T-Bag. There you go.
I think Scribbles just joined.
A different one for you,
Oh,
Dave.
shit, what?
You spoke to about Jordan, aka Spirit Science, once more. Do you ever think you're going to be mad enough to actually take on Jordan ever again?
I mean, that was just some really dumb stuff I found on the internet and wanted to make fun of. I don't suppose that he's somebody that wants to like debate or something like that. I'm pretty sure that that is an example of a grifter to the core. I mean,
Oh
that
no. Have you encountered the Why Do People Laugh at Spirit Science series by Martova 1881?
It sounds familiar, but I don't know that I've watched it.
Oh, he's very similar. He's I think he's a master in quantum physics, and he sits there basically raging more than you can imagine about Jordan's basic errors.
Yeah, but I mean that's an example of like he's just he's not even like getting things wrong. He's just making up bullshit. I mean that's a grifter. You know what I mean? He's made up a script of nonsense for cash. That's very different from people with these convictions. James Tour is not this. They're very different things. James Tour and that guy. So yeah,
Understandable.
Welcome, Scribbles. Are you there, homie?
Scribbles. Oh, that did not work. Okay, I'm just gonna go off of people's raising hands. Oh, looks like Scribbles is requesting to speak again.
All right.
We're gonna try it one more time.
Hello?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay, you can hear me now. Am I allowed to ask Mr. Dave a question?
Of course.
Okay, beautiful. So Mr. Dave, thanks for coming to the server. So I'm a big fan of astrology, and I want to know if you think that there is any harm, I guess, in people who partake in this. Like, because I actually got in a big fight with Mr. First Amender here. Him thinking I have a bad he thinks I'm dumb because this is my epistemology, I guess is the word he used. And I wanted to know if you think there's any like harm that I would never date a man who's an Aries again, because I've had 2 really bad boyfriends who were Aries.
If there's any real harm, I mean, there's the risk that you forego the best relationship of your life for no reason. I guess there's that possibility. There's no great harm in the sense that you're not like doing yourself medical harm. I don't know.
Okay, but okay, sorry, go ahead.
I don't know. I guess I would just try to persuade you to not actually make any real life decisions based on that. Like if you want to just like read your horoscopes and like think it's a fun time, that's one thing. But I would try to.
Well, have you ever talked to an astrologer? Because sometimes they get it wrong.
Uh-oh. We lost her.
No, I didn't do that, Scribbles. I was gonna let it happen. No, that's a treasure trove. That's a treasure trove of entertainment. All right, go ahead, Casper.
Hi, Dave. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
What do you think happened at 9/11?
Oh man, I just talked about this.
Sorry,
I
wasn't
don't.
listening.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna like try to proclaim something other than the official narrative. It always like didn't quite sit right with me. But it's like here. Okay, here's the thing. In debunking things, I've become very familiar with the narratives peddled by those who try to come up with some conspiracy like anti-vaxxers. I'm very familiar with the narratives of anti-vaxxers, and they're complete bullshit. But I can see how they could be convincing to someone without scientific knowledge. And so over the past decade or so, I've tried to like adopt that perspective. And so whereas something that I would have said previously, like there was a time in my life where I would say like Tower 7, right? Tower 7 was controlled demolition, right? And I'd go, this just it is because it looks like that. And like I still like a tiny bit believe that, but also I don't know anything about engineering. I don't know about what it would take to make a building fall down. I know nothing about any of that stuff. So like it's just I just don't know. You know what I mean? I've backpedaled so far that at most I could say I'm agnostic about it, but I just can't like pretend to have any clue about like, oh, this is wrong, this is the lie, this is what actually happened, and this is who's behind it. And it's just I just can't do it. So yeah.
Thank you, Dave.
Yep.
Also, First Amender, please stop simping and like having.
But
I love what you're doing there, Roser. Good work. Good work. All right,
think-
next is
of course,
Stink
of course.
Dink. Let's go ahead and invite.
his question is going to be unique, so be prepared.
Okay.
It's not vetted. It's not vetted at all. All right, Professor Dave, please.
What do we got?
Hello, it's a Stink Dink. Hello.
Hi.
So I'm a big fan, Dave, right? I was wondering if you're aware of the rising trend of critical race theory, and at the same time, the rising correlating trend of straight black men being sexually oppressed by rich white elites.
Nope, stop. We're not doing that.
I told you. He kept saying in chat, but
We're not doing that.
I was going to give him a chance to ask us.
Yeah, we gave it. Come on up, Soul Freak.
Okay, I have a serious question. I have written it down in the chat, and it was about Professor Dave. How do you think about that young people, especially teenagers, using YouTube and TikTok as medium for knowledge, for education, and all that stuff? I mean, do you have any opinions? Do you see there any dangerous and harms to like that? I mean, like when I'm remembering some videos like the 10 useless organs in your body.
Mhm. Well, I mean, obviously, I have a very strongly positive notion about using YouTube for education. That's how I make a living. But I mean, it's very clear. YouTube has emerged as the online platform for educational content. That's just far and away the case. Students are using YouTube to learn things for class, and there's so many ways to do it. There's very good content, very rigorous content that's aligned with curricula. TikTok, I think, is completely different. I think TikTok is a garbage medium for education, but that's just my opinion. I like. There's no doubt in my mind that somebody could figure out how to use TikTok for education in a way that's effective. The little bit that I've seen appears to me to be completely vacuous and just ineffective and nothing more than education flavored entertainment. But I'm just an angry old man, so somebody will prove me wrong at some point.
I'm completely agree. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm really happy that people like you are on YouTube. And I mean, I was using for my old German class. I'm from Germany and I study German. And I was using for my old German class some YouTube videos from a bachelor student who already made the shit who I was doing. And it was pretty good on YouTube, really pretty good explanations. the point is, what I had is like how we could making young people like I mean, there's also a lot of knowledge bullshit on YouTube and like health knowledge. If you have the term in English, like that's like health knowledge, which is more dangerous than wrong knowledge.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
And
Uh-oh.
I think Roser did that. We're gonna move on to Baby Hot Dog.
That was me. It might have been a mod in the audience.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Cool. Hello, Dave.
Hi.
Thank you for taking the time to answer questions.
Of course.
I'm just getting into your channel. I really like it. Someone may have already asked you this. I just got in here, but like scrolling through your channel, it's like chemistry, biology, and then there's let's all get past this confusion about trans people, and then apparently a slap fight with Matt Walsh. Can I ask how that transpired? Because again, like your channel is mostly chemistry, biology, physics, and then trans video. So can I ask just how that happened?
Sure. So I was and continue to be very, very frustrated about the conversation regarding gender and gender identity that's going on the internet. And I mainly see conservatives denying biology and straw manning the things that liberals say in order to push an agenda and polarize people to the right. And so, but I also saw a few things on the left that irritated me. So I just thought I would make a short video that's just sort of like culturally relevant about trans people, just on the very basic level, what trans people are, to try to define sex and gender identity. Basically, the main thing was I wanted to help people understand that sex and gender identity are different things. And then Matt Walsh is just over there at the propaganda mill of the Daily Wire, and all he does is whine about trans people. So he's voraciously looking for content that he can comment on to make his own content. And so he found that video and he made just an atrocious hit piece on it. So I had to respond to it. And because there was thousands of disgusting alt-right incel losers descending on my channel, calling me a groomer literally every 5 seconds. It's just like insane. So I had to make a response to humiliate him back. And then that was the end of it, because he was not really actually interested in any kind of dialogue. But yeah, that's what that was in a nutshell, I guess. Okay, well, I mean, I appreciated both videos. It was just they do kind of stand out. But yeah, that was it. Thanks for answering my question. Thank you for asking.
All right, and for our next question here, we're going to go ahead and bring in Omen.
Hi, Professor Dave. Thanks for gracing our little Discord with your presence.
Of course.
Hi. I guess I had a question that was kind of similar to the last question, ironically. Why do you think that the gender issue, because Baby Hot didn't really talk about this, why do you think the gender issue, Americans care so very much about it? Why does this issue inject so much effort into our political discourse? Do you think that people spend hours, months debating it to this extent, that it just takes over the national debate to this extent?
Yeah, it's really it's stunning. I think that the basis of it is confusion and fear. I mean, it's not unlike what happened around the 1970s when homosexuality was beginning to become normalized. You had a lot of people on the right pushing back and calling it unnatural and calling it evil, and what's going to happen if you have a gay teacher, and what's going to happen if you blah blah blah, and this is terrible, and it should be outlawed, and all these terrible things. It's basically the same thing again, but just with trans people. The reason that there's such a clamor about it is because the right makes propaganda. The right incites it. Right, the right makes propaganda, trying to get people as angry as possible about basic civil rights, to polarize them over the right. Right, they want to say liberals think that men can have babies, and it's boy's penis, girl's vagina, and that's biology, and they're denying basic science. to get people to go, yeah, that is silly, and I'm going to be a conservative now. And it's scarily effective. It's been shockingly effective at bringing centrists over to the right. So yeah, there has to be pushback, but it's so hot button. I mean, I try to do it on Twitter sometimes and push back against toxic people pushing anti-trans rhetoric on Twitter, and just the reaction is insane. Groomer this, pedophile that. Everybody, people are rabid about it. And it's just, yeah, I mean, in a word, propaganda. It's a response to propaganda, essentially.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and as for the next person, we're going to go ahead and invite Squeaks.
Hello.
Hi.
Wait, can I pick my own debate?
Just ask a question.
Okay. Oh, we're not having debates? Oh.
No, it's an
I thought we were
AMA
having
with
debates.
Professor Dave.
Oh.
Okay, all right. We're gonna we're gonna move on to Gobi.
Hey, what's up?
What up?
Hi, everybody. Okay, so my question was, is Ron DeSantis, sorry, I got that wrong. Is Ron DeSanctimonious? Is this guy a cyborg big tech plant that was pushed into the system by Elon Musk and ChatGPT to coerce the American people to getting rid of Trump?
I don't know. Probably not. But I really don't follow politics, so I know next to nothing about that guy.
All right. Yep.
Why?
Oh my god.
Why? All right, go ahead, Roser.
All right, is Biodrug? Oh, there's Biodrug. Here you go, buddy. You're up.
Oh, I didn't realize I'd come back up that fast. Dave, what's your take on sort of separating gender in sport? Given your knowledge on biology, do you think like there should be that distinction of like sexes being split up in sports, or are you sort of like pro-trans being able to compete in like their preferred gender in sports?
Yeah. So yeah, it's a very good question. Unfortunately, it's a very difficult question. You know, I am of the camp that if a trans woman goes through puberty as a man and experiences the masculinization of the body that goes along with that, I do think that in many or most cases it is not fair for them to compete with cis women even after hormone therapy. Because so, like for example, Leah Thomas. I do think that that's not fair. I think that that's not fair for Leah Thomas to compete with cis women. The problem is that it becomes a big quagmire because we don't know what to do, because we don't want to remove the dignity of these athletes and leave them nowhere to compete. And then there's also the flip side of the coin of if we force athletes to compete according to their sex at birth, then you have trans men who would be competing with cis women, which also would be unfair, unless you say that testosterone makes them forbidden from competing, in which case they too now have nowhere to compete. So you're faced with the option of creating a completely different league for trans men and women, which unfortunately probably won't happen just because numbers-wise there aren't enough trans athletes probably to merit such a thing. Maybe there are, I don't know. So in short, I guess I would say that it is a very difficult question, and it's one where people should be having good faith discussions about it. Unfortunately, virtually no one is, because people who are rabidly anti-trans are just trying to completely dehumanize trans people. So there's no room for the nuance of the actual discussion of what is going on biologically with a trans woman or a trans man, depending on when they went on hormone therapy, etc. Like, for example, if someone went on hormone therapy prior to puberty, then I think that you could make a case for them being able to, for a trans woman to be able to compete with cis women. but there's just so much nuance that because of how rabid the conversation is, there's no opportunity to have a nuanced discussion about it. So, but maybe there will be, things cool down in 5 years or whatever, then the people who are very invested in it will be able to have a logical conversation about it and make some changes.
Just a follow-up question then.
Sure.
Do you think, would you be in favor of like allowing children to like sort of start those therapies younger than what they currently are?
No. I mean, when do they start? I mean, I think they start just before puberty, I believe, which I think is about right. And I don't really know that it would be necessary prior, because it's really puberty is the thing that is incredibly traumatic. To undergo masculinization or feminization in the wrong, to yield the wrong body that doesn't match your gender identity, that's tremendously traumatic. And suicidal ideation goes through the roof when that happens. So I think just before puberty is there's no reason to do anything earlier than that. I think. I don't know. I mean, yeah, not sure.
Okay, thank you for the answers anyway.
For sure.
All right, Coffee Pot, you're up next.
Hello, Professor Dave.
Howdy.
Hey, just wanted to say I'm a pretty decent fan of your content. I like it a lot. Your channel is actually pretty decent, and it's really cool to kind of get differing opinions. So I just wanted to say I appreciate that. Now, and this is not like a troll question in any way, shape, or form, but do you have anything against furry? I know that sounds like a random question. I just kind of wanted to know. Against furries, like the furry people, like furry culture. Yeah.
I don't have anything against them, certainly. I don't even remember the last time I thought about them. I don't.
I'm okay with that. That's a good.
Yeah.
I'm like,
no.
I'd rather you have a blank stare than negativity about it, but I don't know. I just wanted to. I always like kind of like asking more mundane people about that, just because I want to know what their stance on it is, pretty much, or any way to perform. But
my stance is that anything consenting adults do with one another is none of my business. That's my stance, essentially.
Fair enough. Okay. All right. That's pretty much my question right there.
Cool.
Thank you for answering that.
I'm fucking dead.
All right.
Zalik.
Come back, Zalik.
Okay, so I was going to ask about the like transports thing, but someone else already asked that. So I was also wondering when the next Simulated Sun song is coming out.
Oh man, thank you. It's like a big bummer in my life. Like we bought a house recently, and I converted the garage into a music studio, so that's all done. And my great aspiration is to like shift back over to music with at least half of my time and really pour myself into music. And it's just, like YouTube revenue has gone down across the board for all creators. I just took another job to like get my income back up, and it's just like, it just feels like every 2 months something comes up, and the time that I wanted to budget for art just vanishes, and I have to work more. Because I got a wife, I got 2 kids, I'm the sole supporter, and it's just, yeah. So I want, the plan was for 2023 to be the big pivot back towards art, and it still might be, but yeah, as soon as I can, basically, is the answer. That's what I'm dying to really do with my life. So yeah.
Awesome.
Let's see, that was Zalik, and now we're going to move on to Stens. Come on down!
Come on, Stens. Let's go. You gotta raise your hand, though, Stens.
He can join it. He's a
Rosa,
senior
what's the
moderator.
queue?
He can literally just come right on up.
This is true.
Come on, Stens, you got this. We believe in you.
Rosa,
He's raising his hand.
May I go to
somebody to
Stens, or-
speak.
Oh, it works. Okay. Okay. So my question for Professor Dave is, what do you think of the Tic Tac incident with the fighter craft trying to follow this UFO that was near one of our carriers? Do you think it's do you think it's like a secret weapon that maybe the U.S. military has, or do you think it's visitors from outer space, so to speak?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I have no idea. I would probably lend more faith to the former than the latter. I don't believe that aliens have ever been here. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, did you watch the video where it pulled? It defied the laws of physics. So if it is ours, then we have science that's far advanced over the rest of the countries in the world.
Well, I mean, nothing denies the laws of physics, violates the laws of physics, but I mean, it might appear to. But I don't know. There's definitely what's his name, Mick something. There's a guy I follow on Twitter who's like way into this and like regularly debunks all of these claims. I don't off the top of my head. I'm sure he knows of the specific one you're talking about. So I've like read enough of his stuff to go like, oh, okay, like most of this is kind of bullshit. But yeah, I don't know very specifically the one that you're talking about. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
The next person we got is Nick.
Come on board, Nick.
Oh, oops, I was muted. All right, I have another COVID question because I was kind of into this. Okay. There have been some figures who seem to have been commonly cited in major news outlets in regards to COVID information. Some of these figures are Monica Gandhi and Jennifer Nuzzo. Jennifer Nuzzo is the director of the Pandemic Center and professor of epidemiology at the Brown University School of Public Health. However, they have expressed skepticism on the efficacy of mask mandates. Do you think that they are lying and are just what do you think of this? Sorry.
I mean, efficacy, like specifically what? I don't know what they said.
I guess I'm not sure specifically.
I mean, like it matters what they said because there's a difference between like people who say masks don't do anything. I mean, you're wrong. Like,
I think they were talking about like the mandates.
Okay, like for businesses or for schools or for
I think it was in general.
Mm-hmm. I mean, with no context, I just have no idea. I don't know the specifics, but I mean, masks work. They reduce transmission by 70% or something like that. And so, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what we'd be weighing that against. What are people gaining by not wearing masks? I don't know what they could be referring to specifically. But yeah, not sure.
Also, I have another question. Oh wait, where is this? Have you heard of the extraordinary medical case of David Philip Vetter, the child whose infliction of SCID required him to live for 12 and a half years in elaborate sterile containment bubbles for his personal protection from pathogens?
I have not. Sounds like a bubble boy.
Yeah, he is.
Interesting.
Or was. And that's it.
Cool.
Okay, and we're going to move on over to Kyle Tanuki. Kyle Tanuki, come on down!
Do I have to unmute myself? I do have to unmute myself. How about that? Professor Dave, I've watched your videos for quite a while. I love them. I love your work.
Thank you.
And after the last two, I don't know, there was a video after the two trans videos, wasn't there, that I missed? I need to check your channel again. I apologize. But since those two videos essentially approaching the trans topic, have you considered making videos or maybe explore more so disproving some of the misinformation around puberty blockers? Because that's
yeah, it's occurred to me. The thing is, I'm more into like biology than medicine. So if I was to do more content, I think what I'd be most interested in is like highlighting neuroscience research,
Discord at Roser.
specific
Google
areas of the
exiting
brain
narrator.
as they pertain to sexuality and gender identity and things like that to validate the biological basis of transness. That would be what I would be most interested in. If I was going to do like the treatment and the puberty blocker stuff, I would just be like, that would be cool, but I would just be hiring an expert in that area and just having them write the script for me, because it's like I don't know about that. So, but I mean, it's good information. I could still do it. Yeah, perhaps.
I mean, I'll be honest. My only reason for really asking that question is because I just need more like easy to digest information disproving a lot of this misinformation because
Yeah.
I have a conservative brother, and this becomes like a heated conversation between
Yeah.
both of us.
Totally.
Yeah. And then I suppose the second question I have is more on like how you make your videos. Do you use just a webcam on your computer, or do you have like a DSLR connected to a capture card?
Yeah, so for my tutorials, I'm not even visible anymore. I just use Adobe After Effects and do the animations. For the debunks where I want to appear intermittently, I'm literally just using the camera inside my iMac. That's it.
Oh wow! I mean,
Yeah.
I'm impressed with Apple.
It looks good, right? Yeah, I think it looks totally adequate. So I just don't do anything.
My setup is DSLR connected to a Camlink 4K, and then and it almost looks equivalent to that. I mean,
Mhm.
maybe that's just my poor knowledge of setting up cameras.
Yeah, I've always been of the mindset where I'll sacrifice, like I'm more interested in quantity of output than increasing the quality by 3% by getting all the extra little things. I just kind of try to crank it out. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, I ended up with all this stuff because like it wasn't so much like trying to get the extra quality. It's like because I'm also a tech nerd and justifying the purchases with other things. Like, oh, the camera also be great for when I go on vacation and I want to take like really good pictures of me and my friends.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Totally.
I guess that's all the questions I can really think of now. And I don't want to take up too much of other people's time.
Yeah, let's move on.
We'll go ahead and move on to Integral. Go ahead.
Hey, Professor Dave. Thanks again for joining the server. I think I read that you attended CSUN.
Yeah, I got a master's in science education. I mean, well, I was doing a master's in synthetic organic chemistry. Didn't quite finish. Did most of it, but then came back and got one in science education.
Okay, cool. Congrats.
Thank
And
you.
I'm also from LA, so when I hear CSUN, it's very familiar and
cool.
And it's cool to have another Angelino. But you talked about universal healthcare earlier in this event, and I am a fan of it. I just don't think it's achievable in the United States. If you think it's achievable, I'd love to know how you think we'd be able to get that going here, because it does serve to work very well in other nations. I wonder how we could do that here in the United States.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, it's like I know nothing about actual policy and like the broader aspects of the industry. It's more of just a philosophical thing. I don't think that anyone should be profiting off of healthcare. That's kind of it. But yeah, in terms of implementation, I mean, what do I know? I don't know anything about it. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your honesty. And hey, this event sounds like a hit. It looks like it was a hit today. So it'd be great if you came back and talked with us some more.
Sure. Yeah. Anytime.
Yeah. That's it for me, Rosa.
All right. Well, thank you, Integral.
Next one we have here is a question by Stink Dink. I will read out the question on behalf of Stink Dink. Hello, Dave. What are your thoughts on the ongoing civil conflict between the globalist-funded flat earthers and the true and honest inverted Earth freedom fighters?
Oh my dear God! This is
so true. So true.
This is peak sci-fi. I like the phrase globalist funded flat earthers. That's very humorous.
All right. And for the next person, we're gonna get Ritera. Let's go ahead and invite Ritera
Yeah.
onto the stage.
All right, you're welcome to come up here, Tara.
Hi, Professor Dave. So are you open to having more in-person debates after your successful debate against Dr. James Tour? Thank
Yeah,
you.
I think so. I mean, he is the most rabid and like it's like if I could do that to him, like I could do much worse to anyone at Discovery Institute or anything like that. Any
Yeah,
other
the problem though is that they don't actually want to talk
No.
to you in person. They want to
No.
hide behind like Evolution News and
Yeah.
their
Have you seen what
their
Evolution
videos
is?
and their
I can
publications.
just think of Matt Walsh just
Yeah.
quivering. He's just
Oh, he doesn't
quivering
like
somewhere.
Yeah, no, none of them want to talk to me. But
Just
yeah,
thinking
Evolution
about
News
that.
is hilarious.
And it was so funny in your response to Matt Walsh. How he was like, and Dave came across as smug and arrogant, as Walsh himself is coming off as smug and arrogant.
It's astounding. But
Yeah, keep doing what you do. I love your work, and
thank you.
yeah, I hopefully we'll see more like debunk content on the Discovery Institute, and yeah, I think you're really having an impact though, because
Oh, yeah.
I feel like they're really on their toes right now in terms of damage
I've
control.
never seen damage control like what they're doing right now. It's just every hour on the hour they're pumping a new hit piece on me. Hilarious. Yeah.
And they could have avoided all of this if James didn't go after you in that initial series. I mean, because if you go back and watch the video that started all of this,
it's pretty
I
nice.
mean, you're very fair and balanced, and
Yeah, I was polite.
And then and part of that video wasn't even on tour. It was on like here's like a bunch of claims from creationists that I'm
That
going to
Yeah.
and then part of it was also trying to explain where the field was, and I can't believe that he didn't understand how soap works. Like that's high school
I know.
chemistry.
Wait, what is soap again? I forgot.
Yeah,
Okay,
he
well,
filled the
I'll
void with
leave.
all of this.
But yeah, it's been great talking
Thank you,
with you,
Regina.
and yeah,
Thank
thank you.
Have a good one.
Next we got Gobi.
Come up here, Gobi.
All right. So, okay. So I have a question. So my question is, just to give some like pretext to my question, I'm 18 years old. I was born and raised in Ireland, and I was born in the year specifically 04. And from 04 all the way till 2015 and 2016, like the world was normal. People were pretty chill. Sure, we had some like financial upsets in like 2008, but basically society kind of had like a basic like track of like where it was heading, and things just felt more stable and secure during that time. Now 2015 and 2016 pulls around the corner, and all of a sudden we have like rainbow flags and MAGA hats that are now trending. We have people asking the question of where are our morals, and can men get pregnant, etc., etc. My main question here is why in those years pre 2015 and 2016, were any of the like current culture war or like identity or gender issues, were they foreseeable? Were there like sparks that, okay, this might be the thing that's going to end up happening, or was it just a surprise that everyone just kind of like woke up to?
I mean, there's always been culture war. I mean, there was an enormous culture war in the 60s and 70s. And that brought about a lot of the social change that we take for granted now. I think that the difference today is that we're seeing the rise of the demagogue, because prior to the omnipresence of the internet, it was very difficult for a demagogue to get a lot of power, to get a lot of influence. But now they can. And so we saw a demagogue become the president of the United States. So that's kind of what's different, and it's kind of bringing up a really seedy underbelly of humanity. A lot of like a really dark side of humanity finds themselves with a voice for the first time, And so culturally, we're seeing that happen, and we're seeing the reaction from the other side of people who see how disgusting it is and are trying to squash it out. I feel like we're still in the middle of that, and I don't really know what's going to happen.
Right. I mean, like, because another thing to point out is we like during this like period of like questioning of like the extremes, we see like a lot of like big politicians, you know, making it into the main stage. Arguably Donald Trump is one of them, and then you know, others can be like Bernie Sanders. Would you say like it's in the interest of the elites? Because this is like a common thing to think, like for normies and also for centrists like me. But like, would you say it's in the interest of the elite to see us divided and extreme in our division?
I mean, yes, I think it is to an extent to in the interest of the elites, but I would never go so far as to imagine that elites have been orchestrating all this. It's much more chaotic than that. I don't think that the elites genuinely predicted that Trump would win. You know what I mean? Like yes, in a general sense, they do benefit from the divide, but the idea that they're playing with puppet strings and orchestrating all of this is just not true. Like it's everything is so chaotic, and it's just, I don't think anybody is capable of really truly predicting in a significant way all the things that are happening are going to happen. But yeah, to an extent.
Are you optimistic for like the future, and do you see like this political divide coming to a close in the fashion that there's probably going to be, this is my last question. Yeah, in the sense that there's going to be like maybe a leader to like rise out of the extremism, or the sides are just generally going to find some sort of consensus?
I mean, there has to be some kind of resolution. It has to happen. Generally speaking, I characterize myself as an optimist, so I am kind of optimistic. But it's going to take, like, I just don't even know what it's going to take. Like, it's going to take a complete shift in epistemology. Like, I feel like with AI, there's going to be some kind of epistemological breakdown, because people are going to be using AI to pump out disinformation at a rate that is unthinkable, even with already what we know today. And so people are just going to become so desensitized. Like, it's just going to change the way people will get so used to everything on the internet being wrong that they'll just radically change the way they interface with information, and then it'll kind of almost hit the reset button to like the way it was before the internet. Maybe I think that's one way it could go, and then maybe we can start to have a more rational discourse without these echo chambers. But I just have no idea, and that's why that's part of the reason I'm in this fight, to kind of counter disinformation and spread accurate information, because I think it's the biggest problem facing humanity, quite honestly.
Thank you very much for answering my questions. I really appreciate it.
Of course. And up next, we've got Arson Carson. Come on down.
My fellow Yinzer, let's go.
Hey, what's up, Dave? It's a really simple question. What is a woman?
Yeah, so that's not as simple as you would like it to be, but you can speak in the context of sex, or you can speak in the context of gender identity. If you're speaking in the context of sex, typically male or female sex is assigned at birth based on external genitalia. This most of the time aligns with the sex chromosomes. So most of the time, an individual with an X chromosome and a Y chromosome for the sex chromosomes expresses male genitalia, and XX expresses female genitalia and reproductive organs. Not always, though. So that is in the context of sex. That's kind of the best we can do, those two indicators, which typically align. With gender identity, it is anyone who identifies as female. And so that is completely different from sex. And something like 99% of the time, or even as much as 99.9% of the time, aligns with sex, which is a cisgender person, and when opposite is a transgender person. So unfortunately, that's about as short of an answer as you can get. Anything shorter than that is just not actually indicative of human biology.
So, if somebody like a trans woman was pre-op, would you still consider that to be a woman?
Their gender identity would be female, and their sex is male.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. I'm not sure if you have any time for any other questions. I know that JT wanted to go in, and I was hoping to get mine in, but I suppose if you're out of time, then I will honor that, of course.
Oh, who, me?
Yes.
I mean, we can do like a couple more.
Okay. Let's keep it to one question. JT, go ahead.
All right, come up here, JT. Okay. Raise your hand again, JT, or just accept it. I don't know what happened there.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
So going back real quick back to the COVID misinformation bit, do you think that it was misinformation about the lab leak theory?
So, I mean, there's so many shades of it. I mean, I don't know if I would characterize it. I mean, there's definitely misinformation in that camp. It's not entirely misinformation because we don't know for sure whether it was or not a lab leak. But so the other, like the more extreme shade of that is the bioweapon theory, which I think has been largely disproven. But in terms of lab leak, here's what I'll say. It is very credible that it was zoonotic origin. So despite what people say, there's very good evidence for it being completely of animal origin. However, the proximity of the Wuhan lab to the site of the outbreak, I mean, that can't be denied, and I don't think that anyone. I mean, we're not going to conclusively disprove accidental lab leak. It's too much of a significant possibility. So I would never say definitely that didn't happen. But so those are the facts. Then around that is a bunch of misinformation and disinformation. But there's a million. I mean, there's too many people saying a million different things about it to say who's right, who's wrong. But yeah, that's about it.
Thank you for answering my question, Mr. Dave. It's been a pleasure.
Sure.
I guess I will defer my question for somebody else, unless if they want to defer it to me, in which case I would be very grateful. I think it's after GT here.
Then Sten's
looks
want to
like
go.
only Nick has his hand up. Let me see here. You know what? I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna take it. I'm taking a question.
All right, go ahead.
All right. Oh boy, I have 4. Oh no.
Lightning round.
All right. Number 1. You mentioned in your book that there are many things that are abridged for the sake of brevity. Is there anything in your book that you wish you would have added but you did not add, and if so, what?
There's nothing specific that I wish I would have added that I didn't. I mean, I wish that more complex information in those fields could be conveyed very, in that length of that book. I kind of had to cut it off at a pretty shallow level of depth.
Yeah, my level of knowledge of your book of chemistry is literally your book. Because I didn't do super well in high school. A lot better in college, but by then it's like I had I was going for a very specific degree that did not involve chemistry at all. Anyway, what is your general way of going about traversing the internet for studies such as Google Scholar in seek of knowledge that is true and weeding out studies that are not true?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if you're on Google Scholar, if you're looking at peer-reviewed literature, I mean, you can just go ahead and assume that that's all valid knowledge. Once in a while, you might get a retracted study or something. But I mean, on the whole, and I'm looking at, I'm not so much looking at epidemiology and things like that. I'm looking at chemistry and biochemistry, biology. So that stuff you're good to go with that. You know what I mean? And that's really all I'm looking at, in preparing for the tour debate. I obviously have to read a bunch of literature in that area, and that's documented studies. So there's nothing wrong there. But yeah, I don't know. There could be other fields that are less reliable, but yeah.
In your latest video, in the debate between you and James Tour, that's probably not even your latest video anymore. Do you feel that your usage of curse words helped or harmed the persuasiveness in the debate?
It had no effect because the people I was talking to are incapable of being persuaded. So it doesn't matter.
I just noticed like as soon as a curse word came, right, there were like a bunch of people that went, "Oh!" and then they zoomed out. They zoomed out the camera to like show the audience, and there were like two old ladies just like leaving. I don't know, I don't know. It's just so anyway.
Fuck them.
Okay. All right. Now the next question is: how difficult was it to set up that James Tour debate with him? What requirements did James Tour? It had to have been a giant laundry list.
It was a month of back and forth by email. He wanted everything in his favor. At first, he suggested that we were not going to refer to any literature, and we were just going to write on the chalkboard, which is insane. It is insane. Where he wanted to talk about the status of origin of life research without referring to origin of life research. So then he said, okay, let's pick 10 papers. And I was like, no, absolutely not. We're going to look at all of the literature that either of us have brought up in any of our content. I mean, the guy is professing himself to be an expert on origin of life research, and he's hiding from the research. Like he says, show me where this has been done, but don't show me any papers, right? It's like, it's completely bananas. So it took a long time. Like, I had to let him have little victories. I was like, you pick the moderator, don't care who it is, you know what I mean? But we're talking about the literature. That's the point of this exchange, to talk about the status of origin of life research. And so, yeah, it was excruciating. But yeah, we finally got there.
God, it was so entertaining. Oh my God, it was the best.
Yep.
It was like butter. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyway, I mean, unless you have time for another question, I know Nick have had their hand up at Arson, but of course I would honor that we can end it right here if you like.
If there's two more, let's just do those two real quick.
Those two, and then we're done. All right. One question, please. Let's please respect Professor Dave's time. Nick, I'll go ahead and invite you, and then Arson will be next. That'll be it. Okay.
Okay. Do you find it like really concerning, or how does it make you feel about the United States that there's all this hate towards like transgender people, and you have like one side of the political aisle that's spreading all of this hatred for them? Does that make you concerned about like the future of the United States?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's not anything new. I mean, the hatred was for black people, and then it was for gay people. They're just a stand-in. Trans people are just the new flavor to hate. But yes, of course, I don't like hatred. I mean, I value individual rights and civil rights, and I want everyone to feel free to be who they are and express themselves and navigate society freely. So yeah, I don't like that at all, and it certainly makes me concerned for the future, as it always. I mean, it's not new. It's always been there, but it remains, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, and then the final question is going to be from Arson Carson. Come on down.
Hello.
There.
Arson, you there? Oh, nope. Looks like he is asking to be reinvited. We're going to invite him. You working?
You there, homie?
Oh no, what a terrible time to have.
Rip pepperoni.
Okay, well, I think we're good to go. I gotta thank you very much, Professor Dave. I know that we're a very, very tiny Discord in comparison to your channel, of course. So I really appreciate, just reaching yourself out there and, deciding to join in on this. Everybody, I really highly recommend, if you haven't already, definitely go on YouTube and type Professor Dave Explains. Subscribe to him. His videos are incredible, and if you need to actually learn something for school, I mean, he explains it really, really, really well. Like very easy to understand, and like a lot of his subjects can be extremely difficult, and he makes it just so easy. I mean, his work is really great. Plus, his debates are just they're hysterical. They're hysterical. They're great. I love them.
Good time.
Anyway, so there you go. Thank you very much for joining, and y'all have a good day. I'm gonna go ahead and move over to just the regular event channel, so anybody could just talk freely. Professor Dave, if you're free to disconnect if you want, or if you want to follow along, it's up to you.
Cool. Yeah, I gotta get stuff, but yeah, good talking with you guys.
Thank you.